Don't worry about it. We've all heard those words, haven't we? But have you ever heard those words from your doctor? Well, come on over, kick your shoes off, pull up a chair, and I'll tell you how those words changed my life. Thanks for joining me. I've made some notes here of what I want to talk about today, and I don't really do very well at notes or scripts. I'm pretty much talking raw, so y'all be patient with me because this is something new. But I want to talk with you about cancer, that dreaded C word. When I first noticed an abnormality, and when I say an abnormality, I mean that it felt like there was a marble in my breast. But when I first noticed that, I was getting dressed and I scheduled an appointment with my doctor. Well, my doctor wasn't overly concerned about it. I don't know if he should have been. I don't know if he shouldn't have been. But, the way I looked at it was, it's my life, right? And I'm responsible for my health and my life. Well, wind's catching everything. And this is when I lived in East Texas. And then again, when I lived in West Texas and I had a doctor there, that doctor wasn't concerned either. Okay. And when we moved up here to Tennessee, I had a doctor I was going to, and he wasn't concerned. Well, there was a changeover in the doctor's office, and so at the beginning of this year, I went to the new practitioner, and she was very concerned. And immediately she scheduled me for a mammogram and a sonogram. And she also scheduled me with an oncologist and a surgeon. I went to see the surgeon and he did a biopsy. And a few days later, he let me know that what I have is an aggressive form of carcinoma. And within 2 weeks, I was lying on the operating table having cancer carved out of my body. I had opted for a lumpectomy rather than a mastectomy. And both the surgeon and the oncologist were trying to talk me into having chemo and radiation. Well, I have no intentions of having chemo and radiation. One of my neighbors just drove by. Uh, I saw what it did to my daddy, and I'm not going through that. I'm not putting my body through that. And so about my daddy, he went to his appointment for his annual man exam, and everything came back normal. This was like in June. Um, and then by December, he was calling me. I was in the medical field at the time. I'd been a combat medic in the Army, so I had a little bit of medical knowledge. But he called and was explaining some issues that he was having. And I said, Daddy, you've got to go to the doctor. So he scheduled an appointment and he went to the doctor. And the doctor did a PSA on him. And the normal range is like 0 to 4. And then when it gets to 4, they start getting concerned. Daddy's was 423. and it was prostate cancer, and it had already spread to his bones. He had tumors all over his bones, and he was in a lot of pain. So Daddy had radiation and chemo, and they didn't help. They didn't prolong his life. They didn't make his life any better. And so you see why I'm a little reluctant. Okay, I'm a lot reluctant to have chemo and radiation. No, my cancer was not as advanced as Daddy's, but I'm still not putting myself through that. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm going to be cutting out sugars of all kinds. I think I may have already said that. I've changed locations. But just watching what I eat, reading labels, and making my own food at home. And yes, I would like to go to a restaurant every once in a while, but my taste buds and my life kind of argue with each other sometimes. I choose life. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm not saying that what I'm doing for my health is what you should do for your health. I mean, that's between you, your doctors, and God. I mean, I'm doing what I feel is best for me. And when it all comes down to it, your life is what matters. How you deal with situations in life, how you deal with your health, how you deal with your neighbors, dadgummit. It's all down to you. Love your neighbors as yourself, which means you have to love yourself, because you can't love anybody else until you love yourself. Y'all take care. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening to my story. And I hope to see you on the next one. Much love from Tennessee.